So how does that like affect the team as a whole? Because Erkast is one of the founding members. He's considered one of the best players that has played in ANZ, and a big sort of kind of leadership role within the team alongside Dexter.
Yeah, it's a sad one. I mean, Erk's still like, still like a really good friend. Like yeah. It was like I don't know. I was always really close with Erk, I felt like, and he's such a good dude, and I really am sad that it's kind of like with the Renegades deal coming in, that was kind of like all our hard work like it had been recognized, and like we got the chance now that we kind of felt we always like were on the lookout for. And it's kind of sad that Erk misses out on that because like it's just the way the world is right now. Like it's hard for him to get a visa in Oz, and like Australia doesn't really respect like the esports. Like we tried, we had a look like with immigration lawyers and stuff, like trying to find a way to get him just like to be able to stay. And the only way was like he had to keep doing his university degree, I think. And it was basically like if he did that, he's like I can't do it and play CS at the same time. And like if I try to do that, and then I'm just gonna fail and get like sent back home anyway.
Yeah.
And it's a waste of money and like just all this stuff. So end of the day, it just wasn't possible. And I think it's really sad because the whole project is like it was his project, and obviously sharing leadership with Chris when Chris came in, but now it's kind of like he's not part of it anymore, and that's that's sad.
So when Erkast left the team, he was replaced by Inns. And I had a question about that because in the past it seemed like Grayhound was quite happy to sort of explore options and maybe look at newer players, for example, Sterling. But it seems like that mentality now has changed and shifted once Erkast is gone. You're no longer looking for like a newer player or anything like that. You've gone straight to Inns, who's a veteran. He's a known quantity. So was he like the only option, or was there other players that were considered to potentially replace Erkast at the time?
I wouldn't say that we're like, just to pick apart the question a little bit, I wouldn't say we're like against up and coming players or anything like that. Like that's not why we like Josh is just like an undeniable like quantity in that he was and is and has been always been a good player. And he's always been reliable, and he's always like when I worked with him on Chiefs, like he had like issues in his in his gameplay that needed fixing, and things like he had like problems with like his communication was bad at the start, and then his confidence was like a problem, but like he's always worked on it, and he's always had a good mindset working on that. And that's something that like you don't get out of like a lot of players in Oz. Like it's so difficult to find players who are willing to work on themselves, like in a capacity where like someone will say, hey, your communication's like a bit of a problem at the moment, and like you just need to pick it up. And like I think Tyler said that to him, and then like straight away scrims that night, like the next day, instantly he was working like so much on it, and he improved so quickly. And that's something like that as someone who played with him, I was like, well, that makes him a good, like he's always a good teammate in my head. Like he never has beef, he never has like he'll always try something, he'll always like fix problems if he has them, which rarely does anymore because he's just so like someone like that who I know has that capacity behind them, and then also he's putting up all these numbers on order, like we just know like there's no way you can look past that. He's just such a good player, so we had to get him. Like he was the only one to replace Erk, really.
So no one was even like part of the question apart from
we're definitely getting like Josh is the only option,
and you guys sort of have the brand power now to basically pick and choose whoever you want, right?
This was right before, so like this was why we were still Grayhound, and we kind of were like so I messaged him and was like, hey man, have you rethought your decision? Like where Erk's got to go back home, so we're looking to replace him. And Josh was just like, yeah, keen, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Like I've given the order thing a chance, and like that it hadn't worked out just with like us beating them for qualifiers or something. And so he was like, all right, I've given it a chance, and now I feel like it's reasonable for me to
move
part
on
ways,
or whatever. Okay, so then you get the Renegades acquisition. So like how did this kind of come about? I imagine a lot of that was to do with Will and obviously the old team moving on to 100 Thieves, but when did you sort of first hear about this, and like what were your thoughts when you were potentially moving to Renegades as a roster?
Will actually called it. So like he's talking to Sean, like they're still mates and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
and uh Sean was like, oh, we're like 100 Thieves is happening or something like that. Like basically just like we were like, okay. So when we knew 100 Thieves was 100%, we were like, and like when it got announced, we called, like Will was like, oh, Renegades are 100% going to approach us and like try and get us as their team now. And then like a week later or something, Renegades hit him up and was like, hey, what's up? We want to get your team. And he was like, oh, cool, dude. And then yeah, anyway, he's a sensible guy.
So you guys were like keen for that? Because I wanted, obviously Grayhound being a organization that was really the team. Like the team was the org. So was there like a sense of something being lost when you moved on from Grayhound? Not only for yourself, but, particularly for some of the other players that have been there since the beginning.
I think, yeah, I was really, uh, yeah, it's like the feel of Greyhound, right? Is like something you can never get if you want to have like the same level of investment in a team, right? So like if you want the level of investment that uh the top teams are getting, you can't have this family, like the Greyhound family feel kind of thing, because Greyhound itself was as much like what you're saying, it was the team. So like we made decisions about like not taking anything away from Will, because he's like he ran it himself as well, and he was doing all the social media and all that kind of stuff. But if we wanted to do content, it was a team decision. If we wanted like sponsorships, like we like it was kind of our decision along with Will. Like Will would be like, these guys want to come on board, what do you think? And we'd like talk with him and stuff. And it was a really good environment in I think, because I'd come from an environment like Chiefs, who was, it felt like I don't know. It kind of like it sounds bad if I say it like any like any way that I'm trying to put it, but like Greyhound just had a feel that like no other org like can imitate, because it's such a like it was homegrown. Like Will had like his idea for it, and he kind of just let the team run it basically.
So you
And
feel as though you've kind of lost something, or is there like a cultural shift within the team now that you're Renegades as opposed to Greyhound?
it's actually been really good with like they're letting us do our own thing, like when we want to do content and all that kind of stuff. And that's the same thing as Greyhound. It's just like there's just like that extra level of people to run stuff by, and that's like not to say that's a bad thing, because professionalizing a career and like an industry is like a really good thing for everyone involved. It's just like basically what I miss with Greyhound is like how silly we could be, because we were just super like
There
we
was no
just made
consequences for Greyhound, really.
exactly, yeah, like there were no sponsorship like agreements that meant we couldn't, swear on videos, and we couldn't like just be stupid and like make really bad content that we thought was really funny. Like all our
Right.
content, if you look at it, it's like it's just so stupid, but it's like to us it's hilarious, and we kind of feel like if we think it's funny, then we hope that the fans are also in a similar situation as us in terms of
Ironically,
like
I was actually watching some of the Greyhound content while I was like researching this video, and I was watching, I think, one of the minor ones you did from the minor, where Erkast was like literally just saying to the screen like, "No fun, no fun, or no funny business, or no laughing, or something."
this
Yeah,
is serious talk.
and then he would just like fucking start laughing, and I was like, "This shouldn't be funny, but it is."
It's
So
like it's just that's the kind of content where like when you know that that's what like Greyhound as a brand was the team, and that means people who are following the brand are following like the personalities of the team, and that's something that was really like we could just make content, and if we found it funny, then everyone would. And that's like if we found a video, like we did some stupid parkour video when we were just like in
yeah, I
a
remember that.
small town in Sweden at the Extra Five boot camp, and like we were just like we were bored one day, and we were just like, right, we're gonna make this video, and I was just like, what if we just do some stupid parkour edit? And everyone's like, yeah, that could be funny. And so we just spent like an hour just like doing dumb parkour that's like they're like we're just laughing the whole time making it, because it's so like it's just such quality like bullshit basically.
So has
And
your
then
career gone from like being fun and not, this is going to sound like a little bit maybe negative, but like has it gone from being fun and kind of happy-go-lucky to now you're like, okay, I'm a professional player. I have to like take things seriously a little bit more so now and that kind
mm,
of thing.
think a little bit, but I think it's been good because we do need to take like this is a
Like, if
serious
you want to
career.
take the next step in your career, you kind of have to shake off some of that Greyhound mannerism and move into a more professional environment.
You definitely have to professionalize it, and that's what Renegades has been so good at, is like professionalizing what was just like I don't know, us just being really, really silly on camera. And I think that's been really good for the like for I guess the team. Just mentality wise and stuff, like we're not as like it just yeah, I don't really know how to describe it other than just like professionalizing everything to do like everything around the team and kind of bringing in like everything that they've been able to bring in, like the resources that they have. It's kind of like just it's only positive for the team.
Right.
It just means like, you know, we don't have as much time. Like we're spending more time focused on the game than we are focused on like content and stuff, which is, you know, is what it is. The content was fun, and I definitely miss like I definitely want to make more of that kind of content because it is just like it's what I find funny, and I think like we were pretty good at it in my opinion. Like Will's editing was really good, and
Definitely.
the acting and everything was always entertaining.
I mean, the whole culture of the team was kind of made from these sorts of videos and those sort of shit posts that you guys put on Twitter. This was a highlight from In Retrospect episode 1, which featured Malta. We go in depth into his early career and a little bit more in depth into the later stages of his career with the likes of Grayhound and Renegades. So make sure you check it out if you're interested.